Here's an uncomfortable fact. We put people in boxes and use them as the basis for our communication with them. For example, we have a family box, and within that box, we have other boxes. We communicate with our parents differently from our siblings, and differently from our grandparents. And we do the same thing for most people in our lives. Friends, teachers, strangers, classmates, neighbors. With our friends, we can easily talk about drama within our friend group or frustrations about teachers that we would never share with our grandmother. But with our grandmother, we can talk about family strife or fears about the future, which we might not really want to share with our friends. For example, take your average, ordinary dad. Most people my age have a dad box for their dad. They talk to him in terms of dad things, and they talk to him about dad things. Sports, work, making sure our scholarship applications get completed on time, that sort of stuff. We wouldn't dare to talk to our dads about boys or whether we look good in a dress. That's not how you communicate with the person in the dad box. So, I decided to try a very non-scientific experiment. I forcibly abducted two of my very best friends and brought them to my house. After removing the restraints, I gave them note cards with questions I had written that were designed to get them to talk to each other about things that would not normally fall within their friend box. What I didn't tell them was that the experiment would be run multiple times with the same cards, with the goal of trying to see if they got more comfortable with each other as they spoke about uncomfortable things. Keep in mind that these friends were already really close to each other and spoke pretty openly, but when the questions were outside the typical friend box, they immediately got reserved and were uncomfortable, especially when they thought the answers might hurt each other's feelings or reveal something about themselves they would prefer not to discuss. They talked for over 90 minutes, and the clips I'm about to show you included some of the same questions and some different ones. Notice how in the beginning, they're very uncomfortable discussing things outside their typical friend box.
All right. Sasha, what was your first impression of me, and how has it changed?
So I'm the kind of person to not have first impressions. I like to keep it very open-minded when I'm like making relationships. But like I've learned that you're a very kind and you're a very blunt person.
Thank you.
So it's very like grounding to have you as a friend. All right. Are there any of my friends that you don't like?
To be honest, not really. Sasha, what's your most embarrassing memory?
I don't have one because I hide it away in the deepest part of my mind, take the lesson from it, and just never touch it again.
These next clips come from after they've been discussing for a while. Notice how they changed their approaches to the questions and to each other.
I guess you can put it that way.
Right. Is there anything you would change about me?
Get a little bit dumb. Like, honestly, I think you're so smart, and I'm like, damn. But, like, you're so also academically driven, and I think you need to tone it down a bit.
I think when I
Because I think you need to enjoy life a little more.
I think when I've talked to people, they said that, like, at first, like, we talk about school all the time, but then I'm like, well, like, most people I meet at school, so, like, the only thing I know how to talk with them, like, at first is school. Like, I'll be like, oh, like, how was that class? Or, like, what'd you think of the homework assignment? But, like, it's only because it's, like, a common conversation topic for me, so, like, I can't really, like, think of anything else to, like, relate to them on.
But I mean, like, also when you were like, oh, on days off, I'm still, like, constantly working, like, I think you need to take a step back and actually enjoy life, because your quality of life will be so much better. Trust me, I don't do anything. So, like, yeah, I'm just worried about that for you. Right. Your turn. Have we ever been interested in the same guy?
No. Most of the guys that you like or want to date are absolutely not attractive and have very repulsive personalities. And I told you that yesterday when we were walking in the hallway, and you were like, isn't he so cute? And I was like, absolutely not. I literally do not understand. I think you spend so much time with them in class that you're forcing yourself to like
I'm not desperate. That's so true.
I know it is. Are there any of my friends that you don't like?
I don't know much of them personally, but some of the first impressions that I have, but it's all from like afar, so I wouldn't judge anyone on it. They're a little like, you know, some of them are a little cocky.
Start naming names.
Who? Like, I feel like she's like so talented, but she's a little bit cocky, you know? So I'm like, oh, you know, I don't know if I'll be friends with her, but like, I know that you're friends with her, so I wouldn't like get in between you guys.
Right.
But it is just like a first impression that I have from afar.
Right.
So not anything I would base like
Right.
my interactions with her on.
Morning.
All right. What is the most annoying thing about Melissa?
Don't even get me started. I have an entire list.
Apologies for the technical difficulties in that last segment. So, did my little experiment solve the world's communication problems? No. But I do think we can learn a great deal about ourselves and others when we are willing to talk to each other about things that are outside the boxes we put people in. I suggest you give it a try.